Hello and welcome to Wired In. I'm Diana Galata with Hampton City Schools. I'm so pleased today to be joined by two people I consider friends. Jennifer Brown, who is the CEO of Community Nights Incorporated. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Teresa Michener, who is the CFO, the money lady for Community Nights Incorporated. Welcome.
Thank you, Diana.
So before we talk a little bit more about Community Nights and how wonderful the organization has been for our schools and for several other community groups, let's talk a little bit about the two of you. So tell us a little bit, Jennifer, about where you grew up, a little bit about your background.
I've been a Hampton resident since I was a year old, so I've grown up in Hampton. I'm a graduate of Hampton City Schools. I graduated from Kickingham High School. I've also got two daughters who have grown up in Hampton and are graduates of Phoebus High School. My youngest daughter has autism, so I've been very active in the schools. I've sat on the Special Education Advisory Committee, SEAC, for many, many years, and have served as the vice chair for longer than I can remember. I'm actually in my last year on SEAC. I've stepped down as vice chair, and then I'm actually will have my last meeting next week.
Wow.
So.
Well, we appreciate all of your involvement through SEAC, of course. So Teresa, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Mechanicsville, Virginia.
Okay.
Lived there from the time I was 3 until I graduated from high school. Mm-hmm. I went to Virginia Tech, where I met my husband, and we have 3 children. One graduated from Virginia Tech and is at Baylor right now in grad school.
Wow, in
the
Texas.
Other, yes,
okay.
In Texas, a long way away. Mm-hmm. The other is graduating in May from Virginia Tech, and then our son is at Bethel High School right now, and he's a sophomore.
So we almost have every high school represented between the two of you, just not the Crabbers yet. But.
Well, no, actually my 2 daughters were Crabbers.
Okay, so we've got all the high schools represented.
Except for, yeah, that's right, because you graduated from Kickingham.
Right,
so,
perfect.
Yes.
So very well-rounded. So Community Nights, what a great organization, funding several programs, hundreds of thousands of dollars throughout the past several years. So talk to us a little bit about why you all decided to co-found Community Nights. We'll start with you, Jen.
Well, Teresa and I have always been very engaged in the community in so many different ways because we're both very community service minded, both within the schools and in the nonprofit sector. So in 2008, when we had the funding crisis happen, when the housing bubble broke, it was very obvious that funding streams were being cut both with the public schools. That's when we went through our first deep budget cut within the school system. But we also were seeing funding sources dry up for our nonprofit sector as well. So several people knew that Teresa and I happen to be a really good fundraising team. Our backgrounds complement one another very well. Teresa has a degree in accounting. My degree is in marketing and management. And we work so well together. So people just started contacting us and saying, hey, do you know of any fundraisers that work really well? They were looking for us to help them set up something large scale. But when we would go and do an analysis of their volunteer pool, they really didn't have the depth of volunteers that they needed to do something significant that would solve their problems. They didn't have the longevity, and they also didn't have the corporate expertise to do it. When we started looking at the volume of people coming to us, though, Teresa and I started looking at one another and going, I think maybe we can do something here if we pull the community-based volunteers together and have them work collaboratively. And I've always, as you know, been someone who believes in working collaboratively together and building partnerships. So we figured if we could bring those volunteers together and then start a grant program. And I've always found a quarter is a really good measuring to take off any of the ups and downs that you have. And bingo was a wonderful fundraiser because it brings in money consistently, and it's a very good large-scale fundraiser. So Teresa and I leveraged our expertise in that fundraiser. We pitched the idea and checked out all of the regulations and made sure that everything we were doing was above board. And we started working on building that. The other part of Community Nights that we haven't been able to implement yet, but that we're working towards, is building the partnerships to start a nonprofit incubator. Because we have a lot of underserved populations that have service needs that simply aren't met. I know that within the disability community, because that's a community that I live in from many different angles, but especially as a family that requires services. And we know that other underserved populations have these gaps. We tend to have people who step up and see a need and want to do repetitive things. So we're trying to start nonprofits that are already serving those purposes. And then we have needs that aren't necessarily something that markets well, but they're desperate to get, you need those things to really serve the population. So we're trying to build partnerships with other nonprofits that are doing similar things to us to facilitate the health of the nonprofit community and get an incubator to make sure we have a well-rounded service that serves those populations that need help. And that's something we'll be working on building after we get, this program really solid and get into a facility.
That's exciting. So Teresa, tell us a little bit more about the fundraising. How does that work? You rely very heavily on volunteers. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Yes, so the fundraiser that we do is bingo right now. And every Wednesday night, Sunday afternoon, and Sunday evening, we run bingo games that require about 25 volunteers per game. So we're looking for any community volunteers that would like to come out and participate and help with that bingo fundraiser. We also look for volunteers for the afternoon of Wednesday and Friday to help us prepare for the bingo games. But basically, we raise money through the bingo. Every quarter, we give out grants to our participating organizations that sign up under community nights. Last quarter, we gave out $100,000 to 43 different local nonprofits and school groups within our community. So we started the first quarter 4 years ago giving out $4,000. Total, we've given out $642,000. But in order to keep that going, we need more community-based volunteers.
So significant amount of money over the past few years. And of course, we're very grateful in Hampton City Schools. You've provided a lot of support to Phoebus and have branched out to other schools, as other schools have heard and applied for those grants. You weren't trying to just help Phoebus.
Oh, absolutely
It
not.
happened that way, but Phoebus Robotics has been a great recipient. Football, many of the sport teams, wrestling.
Model UN over there.
Yes. So talk to us about how is that making a difference to our schools from your perspective?
Well, one of the things we know when you're dealing with students in high school is we want to make sure they stay in high school, and you need to tap into their passions. What is it that excites them? What is it that makes them want to get up and go to school in the morning? Because if you don't have a student attending, if you don't have a student having something that's driving them to stay excited about school, then you're risking dropouts. And that's especially true when you're looking at a school like Phoebus that is serving a large number of students who are living in at-risk situations. And so we want to find what is that thing that excites them. That could be athletics. That could be robotics, that could be the culinary program. There are so many wonderful extracurricular activities. And when we are faced with the budget cuts that every single public school in the state has been faced with since 2008, and they haven't stopped coming. I mean, we've had a couple of years of level funding, but every single year we're either dealing with the exact same funds we got last year or we're looking at cuts. We haven't had an increase in funding in years. So what the school board, working in fiduciary responsibility, they have to look at core curriculum first, and they have to look at these extracurriculars secondary, and that is what they have to do. So what we're trying to do is come in and step up and say, what can we do to add those extra layers on? And all of these programs bring academics in as well. I mean, when you're looking at robotics, we're applying so many things in the STEM field. We're giving real life experience, project-based learning. And I'll just use track as an example in Phoebus because I'm very familiar with that. Those track coaches work with the students. They do a chant at the end of every single practice of anything that's worth doing in this world. What does it take? It takes work. It takes hard work. They check in with every student's teacher. They make sure that they are applying those grades, and they say, even I don't care how fast you run, their goal is to get those kids into college, get it that way so they can afford it. They will put them in study halls. Even if their grades are good, you can improve. What's an area where you need to improve? So they're always trying to develop the entire child. And that brings such value to have somebody investing in you that way. And all of our children need that. And that a lot of times comes from the extracurricular activities.
And we certainly appreciate it. You've made a great positive impact on Hampton City Schools. So if I'm a not-for-profit group or a school group and I'm interested in applying for a grant, how would I do that?
Okay, first you would need to go to www.communitynights.org, and it's Nights with a K.
Okay.
And you sign up as a nonprofit under our gift program. And you fill out the paperwork right online, and within probably 24 to 48 hours, you'll be approved after we check out everything to become a participating organization. Once you do that, if you have people that are willing to volunteer, we just need to get their email addresses, and we will add them to our Sign Up Genius, which is how people sign up to volunteer. And then by the end of the quarter, that you would need to fill out a grant application, and that is also online on that website. And then we will release how much everyone's gotten within a couple of weeks after we have our board meeting, and then you just need to come by and pick up your check, and then we start the process all over again.
So it sounds easy enough.
It's very easy. It's very easy. And that grant application, someone's like, oh no, a grant application. It's not your typical grant application. I mean, there's like 5 questions.
Oh, that is not your typical grant
Right,
application.
exactly. So it's not hard.
And
So you wanted to add?
Yeah, and we need to stress, first of all, you don't need to be affiliated with a participating organization to volunteer.
No.
Our volunteers are community-based. So if you want to support the activity that we're doing and you just want to come out and volunteer, please, please come. There is a space on our website where you can just sign up to volunteer. You don't have to come through a participating organization. The other thing we need to stress is if you're an organization and you are not an organization that has a crew of volunteers, because every nonprofit is different, you do not have to provide volunteers to be eligible for grants.
Okay.
Those two things are separate. The things that our board is really looking for is that collaboration piece, because we're looking to have everyone in our community helping one another. So we really want our organizations reaching out to one another and breaking through those molds. It's not a competitive process where we're looking to see, well, some people are going to get grants and some people aren't. What we're really looking for is how are we working together to make our community better. Right. And the other really strict component is that those funds are directly benefiting the citizens of the Virginia Peninsula. So if you're looking to find grant money to send overseas to help Syrian, the people in Syria right now because of the chemical bombing, for instance, and that's something that's touched your heart, personally, I think that's a wonderful thing to do. However, we're not the vehicle through which to do that. So
it's all local.
It needs to affect people who are sitting right here on the Virginia Peninsula. That's what our organization is set up to do.
Great. Well, you all have both shared a lot of great information, and hopefully this can help get the word out about volunteering. So thanks so much for all the support for our schools. We appreciate it, and thanks for coming on today.
Thank you for having us.
We appreciate it, Diana.
And thank you for watching Wired In. Please go out and volunteer for community nights. They are in need of volunteers and our community benefits. Have a great week.